This week, we're going to spend some time on the principle of empirical grounding. Part of community psychologist training in empirical grounding is understanding how to consume, critique, and conduct research. In order to do these things, training in research methods is extremely important. While research methods training can last years for community psychologists, we are going to spend a week on them for this class. We are first going to explore the traditional research methods and then learn about a particular approach called participatory action research, combining research and social change. Finally, you are going to explore websites on evidence-based projects associated with your topic of interest. By the end of this unit on research methods, you should be able to identify the four principal research strategies and categorize different research methods into these strategies. You should also be able to discuss the advantages and disadvantages to each strategy, as well as the ethical considerations that should be made when using each of these strategies. Finally, you should be able to differentiate between the three different methodological concerns. In this lecture, I will introduce the strategies and methods, as well as what methodological concerns are most commonly attended to when doing research. As I said before, research methods training is important for community psychologists to consume, critique, and conduct research, but it can go farther than this. Research methods can enable community psychologists to work effectively with communities to identify the most important issues and solve them in ways that make the most sense. There are many different methods of research out there. Some of the most common ones are experiments, quasi-experiments, surveys, questionnaires, interviews, focus groups, observations, case studies, and records. The Singleton and Straits chapter you read for this class presented four principal research strategies. They include experimental strategies, surveys, field research, and archival data. The research methods fall into these four categories. Most fall into just one, but a couple of the methods overlap strategies. Let's first look at where the methods fall. Experimental strategies include experiments and quasi-experiments. Survey strategies can include surveys, questionnaires, interviews, and focus groups. Interviews and focus groups can also fall within field research strategies, as well as case studies and observations. And finally, archival data strategies are most commonly the review of records. Historically, methods have been taught to fall within two categories, producing quantitative or qualitative data. But what you may notice is that the different methods can provide both qualitative and quantitative data. If I were to stay with the dichotomous relationship, pitting qualitative methods against the quantitative methods, this would force you into making a decision about which method is better than the other. But if you think about the strategies instead of the data that they produce, quant or qual, you can see that they are all trying to reach an understanding about a particular issue and must address similar methodological concerns, including reliability, validity, and generalizability. Because we will be referring to these terms in this unit, I want to make sure you have a brief understanding of them. Reliability asks the question, is our study or measurement consistent or dependable? If someone were to fill out a survey back to back, will that person provide the same answers to the survey? Meaning, can the results be consistent and repeatable? Validity asks the question, are we measuring what we are intending to measure? Meaning, are we asking the correct questions or using the correct scales in order to figure out what we want to ask? For example, in this class, if I wanted to measure your knowledge on the ecological model, asking you about how the model was developed wouldn't measure your knowledge. A valid measure would be to have you name and give examples of each different level of the model. Finally, generalizability asks the question, is the sample that I have drawn clearly representative of my broader population? Or can the findings be replicated in other studies that may be done by different researchers with different respondents or participants? A single study examining Latina youth's positive mentoring experiences would not be generalizable to the experiences of African American or white youth. In order to provide you with a better understanding of these strategies, in the next 2 lectures, I will examine what each strategy entails, identify its advantages and disadvantages, and the possible ethical concerns to consider when using the strategy.